Hello everyone, in the NICCoLLa project, we are going to talk about the ethical implications that are used or will be in artificial intelligence. It is important to highlight that the part of artificial intelligence that has grown significantly in recent years is the one that focuses on specific tasks. MIT researchers had designed an artificial intelligence system that could preventatively diagnose Parkinson's disease by monitoring a person's breathing patterns. This example serves to demonstrate the importance of the use of artificial intelligence in many daily uses and especially in research, but these advances used in a bad way can have important ethical implications, which must be known and analyzed. What are the greatest challenges/problems facing the incorporation of artificial intelligence into our lives? Data bias, control and morality, transparency, power balance, property. We could talk for a long time about each of these challenges, but we are going to try to raise questions that can make us focus on the greatest advantages, but also on the problems that may arise. Let's start with something easy. Should the use of artificial intelligence be regulated? The European Commission thinks so, but at the same time, it should not limit its expansion to not leave European companies out of the great developments that are going to be carried out in the coming years. Finding that balance is the fundamental part of the success of such regulation. On April 21, 2022, the European Commission presented a draft regulation so that the development of artificial intelligence does not lie in the hands of the private sector and prevents its use by public authorities, as is the case in China. But it has not yet been approved and will surely present changes in the negotiations with the various countries of the European Union. It is expected to appear in 2024. This is an issue that has always been present since democracy existed. In ancient Greece, there was already a discussion about individual and social relativism and about what should prevail. Each person has certain values and ethical beliefs depending on the environment in which he was born, where he grew up, and the people with whom he related. Therefore, consciously or unconsciously, we all have a certain ideological bias. This bias can be political, cultural, economic, or social, but it always exists. This ideological bias is part of our environment and therefore also present in the data we collect and analyze. Most of the databases that collect information on the treatment of certain diseases are carried out in first world countries. Data from minority societies are often not represented in the training of algorithms used in artificial intelligence. For AI to be truly useful to humans, the data it feeds on must be highly representative of the population it represents. In other words, the data must be unbiased. Bias is a systematic error that can be made when data sampling or testing selects or favors one answer over another. We all understand that there are differences in diet, behavioral habits, and the air that is breathed between different countries and/or continents. We must be very aware of trying to ensure that the data processed is as representative as possible so that the extraction of information is as fair and equitable as possible. Therefore, we ask ourselves, is it ethically correct to use databases with bias to be able to identify factors that determine a disease? On the other side, can a neural network only be trained if the database is fully representative of the population it analyzes? Should the bias that occurs be analyzed and try to correct the deviations in the data? This answer should always be yes, but companies may only be interested in analyzing part of the population to launch a product for a specific type of person. Should healthcare harness the power of AI, despite knowing there are significant biases in data collection? This is the key question. Although the fairness of the data cannot be guaranteed, should the technology be able to be used? The power of artificial intelligence is indisputable, as well as its applicability. Should decision-making be automatic? When the effect of the decision affects people, should this decision have human supervision? It is always possible? Obviously not, for example, in autonomous vehicles. Periodically, international organizations organize international conventions in which the implications of the automatic use of certain devices, drones, cars, etc., are analyzed. For example, if a drone has a rocket and can fire it at humans, there needs to be some other human checking the decision-making process before the missile is deployed. So far, we've fixed some of the critical AI control issues with a patchwork of rules and regulations, like this one. The problem is that AI must make more and more split-second decisions. For example, in high-frequency trading, more than 90% of all financial trades are now driven by algorithms, so there is no chance of a human being in control of decisions. The same goes for self-driving cars. They need to react immediately if a child runs off the road, so the AI must be in control of the situation. This creates interesting ethical challenges around AI and control. Therefore, we expose the following questions. There will come a time when technology will be able to determine compliance or non-compliance with requirements. Will we demand freedom in making these decisions? Why is it that a high level of ethics is required when technology is applied, which is not applied in the same way to people? Is there a need for social justice in the age of data? Should artificial intelligence be used to improve social justice among humanity, or is it better for humanity to decide the future it wants? Who should determine the applicable level of ethics in technology? Will norms be created? Will justice be created to determine if the technology has acted correctly? These issues are very complex and will surely lead to long discussions.